Hey guys, how you doing? It's Henry, Mowers and Blowers. So my buddy Jason Pattay of Pattays Performance, he texted me a screenshot of a Facebook Marketplace listing, and basically a lady was giving away a Craftsman lawn tractor, one of those Craftsman wood chippers, right? The non-self-propelled dual-stage snowblower from Craftsman that has the high wheels on it, you know, like BMX bicycle mags, you know, that kind. The big wheels, they're not pneumatic, but they're plastic or something. So that's the non-self-propelled one. And also a dual-stage Craftsman snowblower with the tracs. It's another 420. You guys know I have one of those. That, and I think a rear end of another lawn tractor, and what looks like an MTD deck. Now, while I didn't want the deck, I took it because I think 5-Speed Ash wants it, right? Nick, let me know if you want it. Otherwise, it's going to the curb. I'm going to strip it of the parts and blah, blah, blah. So I already got it. We just picked it up. My friend Larry and Bob, who was over my house today doing a video, they came with me to help. It's funny because the address that we went to get all this stuff, it's like a block or two away from Pete Lombardi's house. But I know Pete Lombardi is at school, so you know he wouldn't be able to help or anything like that. He says the engine works on the lawn tractor. We'll see. I'd have to look at it some more, but we had a heck of a time getting it from the backyard to the van because the rear wheels are locked up. But with the Craftsmans, they're always locked up, you know? So I'll see what happens with it. I mean, I don't really need any of this stuff, but it's free. Oh, also, there was one of these big power washers. It looked like to me that it was a generator. You know, a big square thing with 2 wheels and a handle on the other side. It looked like a, you know, a generator to me. But it turns out it's a power washer. He said the engine's good. He said all these things run. So, you know, we'll see if they run. If they run, bonus. If they don't run, I don't know what I'm going to do with them. I've got a lot of stuff. Anyway, so when I get home, I'll unload all the stuff. But this is us loading. Happening is because the wheel's locked up, it's pushing my ramp up with it, you know? So it's got to come back down. See you guys later.
Bye. I got room for lots of shit. How are you gonna get all this out by yourself?
It'll take me a week. It'll take me a week, but I'll do it. Hey guys, so I'm back, and thanks to Larry and Bob, they helped me bring back 3 items. They weren't interested in any of it. I even tried to give them away, and they don't want it. So, you know, I don't even know if I really want it. So this is a dual-stage snowblower that's not self-propelled. Has like those BMX bike wheels in the back. Just from preliminary looking, it's doesn't have a chute, right? But the auger looks okay, you know. Body looks okay. I had a rear end to a Craftsman LT1000, I believe. It's a Tecumseh. Looks like it works. I took the wheels off of it to put it on the tractor in there so it'll roll. I also took the keys out so that they would roll freely. I wasn't going to take this because I didn't know this was for, you know, for the taking. From far away it looked like a generator to me, but actually the guy said that this is actually almost an 8 horsepower 2500 psi power washer. So he was giving it away. I took it because it got a hose and a gun and all that. Item number 3 was one of those wood chippers, chipper shredders, Craftsman. I've worked on 2 of these in my life, basically in 300% worse condition than this. This is the best condition one I've ever had. So I actually like it. I would have kept those other 2 if they were in good condition, but they weren't. So I sold them. Item number 4 is a 420 track drive. I have exactly the same one in my shed that works. Tecumseh engine, right? It's like 5 horsepower. Missing the belt cover. Also the chute is kind of messed up, right? And it's off of the track there. Also, by peeking inside this area there, I saw a chain loosely hanging. So I think it something's up with the drive system. But engine looks okay. What I'm looking at this one here is this engine looks much better actually, and it even has electric start. So that's cool. Item number 5, which is the tractor, also came with a double bin bagger system for the LT1000. So that's definitely cool. The whole trip was worth it just for the bagger system, and it's in excellent condition. So you always need a bagger system. I have an LT1000 that mows, drives, and runs in the back, right? The 16 horsepower Kohler. I'm going to put this bagger system on there. Be worth more money. As you guys know, this pull-on with the Tecumseh engine in it, I put the parts inside that blue container there because I want to price out connecting rod, gasket kit, and crankshaft. If I can get those for under 50 bucks, I'll buy it and rebuild the engine. If not, I'm just going to part it out and sell it for parts. I don't know what I'm going to do with this tractor yet. Maybe I'll make 1 out of 2 again from this one and the one that I'm getting out of my van right now. Pain in the ass, but ready to come down. I've got dog poo on one of the tires. I gotta fix that. There's dog poo on that tire, fresh too. Fire extinguisher. I hope it doesn't splatter onto me. I feel better now. It's not in my garage, you know what I mean? It's raining, so maybe it'll wash it off my driveway. These fire extinguishers, old style, are so great. They're reusable. Just fill it up with water. Put this thing back in here, right? Tighten it up. And then you have the meter here, right? Where it says right here, it's in the red. So you recharge it. So basically there's a nozzle for your air compressor. And you just fill it until it reaches the green. That's it. Now I've got a fire extinguisher near me all the time, where I can put out fires of lawnmowers. Of course, that'll never happen to me, right? Fires, lawnmower? Ah. That's right. They're rolled in at mowers and blowers, but I usually drive them out. I keep getting them. They keep giving me their mowers for free, so I have to take them. The three of us decide we're going to tear apart that Tecumseh blown engine. Socket. Hey guys, so as you guys saw, that was a really cool angle that we had with the overhead shot. You know, that was pretty cool. You saw us moving the tractor to its side, and the reason we did that was because what did I do on a couple videos ago when I was messing with that yard machines? I thought that maybe I would have to take the flywheel off to check the whether or not the keyway was sheared, right? But then what didn't I have? I had the 15/16 socket, I had a 1 1/4, but I never had a 1-inch socket. So I couldn't take the nut off the flywheel off of that yard machines, right? Well, fortunately, right before I was headed to Harbor Freight to go buy that 1-inch socket, right, I just tried something and it fired up. So I knew that it wasn't the sheared keyway, so I didn't have to get the socket. But then, of course, today we're working on this thing with the 15 horsepower Tecumseh, and the Tecumseh has a 1-inch socket. So we couldn't take the flywheel off, and it was too bad too because I wanted to show Larry and Bob the Tarot way of removing the flywheel. You know, where you take the crowbar and sledgehammer and boom, you knock it off. So we couldn't take the flywheel off. So Larry just had to take off to go run an errand. I says, hey, when you come back, bring a 1-inch socket with you, you know, so we can take the flywheel off. So for us to inspect the inside of this engine, right, which is the whole purpose of us doing this today, was Bob and Larry wanted to know exactly how much damage a blown connecting rod would do to this engine, right? As you guys can see, it cracked right, it broke right there in the middle. So it wasn't bad. It was a good break, you know. The connecting rods are made to, I guess, you know, break whenever it's under that kind of stress. Almost like crumple zones on your engine in your car. You know, they're made to crumple to absorb the impact in a crash to save the humans on the inside. So while I actually made him a nickel bet, I says, nah. In 9 out of 10 engines that are blown with me, stuff is sloshed around in there so badly that too many components have been trashed that you can't rebuild the engine, you know. Usually the engine block is all torn up on the inside. The cylinder walls are all cracked and big chunks of it are missing. The cylinder walls are all scored and the piston's trashed. So basically it's just trash. So I would just completely do a tear down and, you know, salvage the good parts and sell them on eBay. But, so what we did was we had to flip the mower on its side so we had easy access to the engine bolts. And as you saw, I used my 1/2-inch electric impact, the Harbor Freight one, and we just took the engine off super easy. I moved the keepers out of the way, you know, the belt guides out of the way, and Larry was able to pull it right out along with the double stack pulley. Double stack pulley, I banged on it a little bit with the crowbar just to loosen it up, and when he pulled it up, it just fell off. So it was easy to take it off. We flipped the engine upside down, so at least we can get the flywheel's still on here. It won't come off. I don't have the socket, right? So we took the sump cover off, and I was pretty amazed. Initially, I owed him a nickel, right? But then looking through this some more, I couldn't get the camshaft off because the crankshaft is still on, because it's attached to the 1-inch nut, you know, which we couldn't get off. So I can't take this off, I can't take that off right now until Larry brings back that 1/2-inch socket, full-inch socket, right? So I took the head off and I used a screwdriver and pushed the piston out, right? While it does have a lot of carbon buildup here, right, it can be cleaned. The rings feel good, the oil ring feels good, everything feels good. There's no scoring on the side of the piston, right? It's only the connecting rod that's broken half.
No scoring inside there.
If you feel this, smooth as a baby. There's absolutely no scoring whatsoever. It's a good condition. Actually, I would say a perfect condition cylinder, right?
Yeah.
So the only thing was I was about to give him a nickel. Not that he was really going to take my nickel, but, you know. I used a flashlight and I looked at the journal of the crankshaft. To me, it seems pretty badly gouged. And yes, you can use muric acid and emery cloth and very fine sandpaper in a symmetrical pattern to grind down that journal to make it smooth again, like a ball bearing, like that, right? But then again, if you do too much, right, you would need a caliper, a measuring caliper, to figure out the specifications whether or not you pass that limit. If you pass the limit, to put a new connecting rod on there, if there's any kind of air gap in there that is not within specifications, right, this engine won't last a month, you know. The vibration, the amount of fast revolutions that this is running on, eventually it will just vibrate so much that it'll give way again, you know. So I guess I could price a used crankshaft, right? Price a connecting rod. The Tecumseh head gaskets are metal, sheet metal, and they're all in good condition. Every one that I've taken off has been in good condition. So, I mean, I'm thinking you can reuse this. we would need to get a gasket seal for the sump gasket. We would need both crankshaft top and bottom. When we remove the flywheel, we'll have to remove it and get seals for this, which is not a lot of money. $10 for the kit, you know what I mean? So $10 for the kit. If I could find a crankshaft for $25, $30, that would be worth it. If I could find a connecting rod for $20 or $30, so I'd be in it for like $50 or $60, right? That might be worth putting it together again for an engine, right? But if it costs any more than $100, you'd probably get more money by selling the components of this engine, you know, on eBay. But just for shits and giggles, I mean, it might be a fun project to work on to get it going. You know, it'd be very rewarding if you put it all together again and ran great, right? It would be rewarding to do that. But
that's the tipping point.
yeah,
Over 60, you know, you're doing it just for your own pleasure.
we would have to look and see what the prices were, which I'll do later. You know what I'm saying? But we do still have to check one thing, which I can't check right now, is that we need that 1-inch socket so I can get the flywheel off, so I can remove the crankshaft and we can look at it better,
Yes.
and also take the camshaft off. Because remember, the camshaft has a built-in compression release lever in it. If that's gone, you need a new camshaft. So, if you have those kind of components that continuously require you to replace, it's not really worth it to rebuild. Because remember, the labor is still pretty good too, you know? So let me get you guys closer so you can check out the condition of the wall. All right, so here is the sump cover, right? And I've looked through it. I know there's a lot of Earl. The governor gear and oil splasher is in good condition. Everything else is in good condition. Oil pump in here. You see the surrounding area here is not cracked. Usually when you have a catastrophic, you know, damage to the connecting rod, I've seen just about everything, you know. The Tecumsehs have these 3 holes in here. One was for the this is for the crankshaft, right? One's for the camshaft. One's for the synchro balancer, right? Which is right here. Here's a synchro balancer. That's in good shape. It's in really good shape. Untouched. Okay? So, I mean, the sump cover is in good shape, right? So here's the head. You guys know, use 2 fingers and try to turn the valve, and it does not turn. There's a lot of carbon buildup on it, right? But looks like the valves are good. You do not require a valve job for that. If I could turn these 2 under the spring pressure with my fingers, then you would need to do a valve job. But that looks good. It's seated properly. It just needs to be cleaned up. Head gasket is good. On the flip side, to remove the head on this machine, you didn't have to release the compression on the springs, thank goodness, because you guys know that is a pain in the ass, man. I mean, to get these 2 things out of there, the keepers, you have to push it down like half an inch, right? And these keepers will just come out. Sometimes you almost have to have a magnet to suck them out, right? And to put them back in, I don't even want to tell you how hard that is, you know. There was a guide plate here that I had to remove because the last head bolt was in there. So I had to remove this. I didn't want to, but I had to, right? And then the rocker arms went on top like that, right? The
Are they the same?
I was just gonna comment on that. Like, remember what we were talking about?
Yeah.
Usually it's 1 steel for the intake and 1 aluminum for the exhaust, right? On that Yard Machines one, it was 2 steel ones. This 15 horse, but that's a 13.5, okay? And it had 2 steel ones. Wait a minute, it may not be that one. It was another one. It was another one. And this is strange. It's 2 aluminum ones,
Yeah.
right?
Right.
That's weird. Did I pulled those 2 out, right?
Yeah.
That's really weird.
Yeah, they are aluminum.
Aluminum. So the muffler, believe it or not, was easy to get off. You almost never have that. It's always a fight to get that off. We will need a muffler gasket, right? But if you check out here, the interior of the walls, guys, this is pristine, okay? I don't feel anything. It's a good condition block, you know, good cylinder. So I know that you know, it's a shame because it's in such good condition. Just from looking here, right? You don't really have any damage other than the fact that that connecting rod broke. I'm gonna try to get you in here to see that journal. You see the journal? The journal is pretty bad. I mean, it's like sandpaper, you know what I mean? All the way around. As a matter of fact, I feel another gouge that almost like a 1/2 millimeter, it's actually sticking up, you know? So that's, you know, if you're talking about that deep of a gouge, I don't know. I think the crankshaft is Dunsky. So we would just probably try to price that out. Let me price all that stuff out first before, you know, if we decide, if they decide to take it home and try to fix it, right, I'd probably try to help them and stuff. I don't know if I would do it myself. You know, I'd have to price the parts again. But we'll wait until Larry comes back and we could take that flywheel off and check out the cam so we can assess this a little bit better, right? I don't even know what I'm going to do with this. I'm kind of in limbo. I still have that mower to fix, the one with the high vac type bag. I need to fix that if there's anything wrong with it. And then I finally did change the blades, as you guys saw from the last video. I banged that blade back into shape, but then it really was still vibrating quite a bit. So I changed the blade and the blade adapter, and now it runs good. It's nice and smooth. Thank you guys for reminding me to do that because, you know, it was vibrating. You know, I had plenty of blades and adapters, so I put it on there. This is the other one that Bob and Larry gave me. This actually, I think, is in very good condition. You know, it feels really nice. So I'm going to work on this later, and that'll be another video. But the continuation of this video, we'll just wait until Larry gets back. Hey guys, support my channel. Buy a sticker. Also, follow me on Instagram at mowersblowers. Check out my website, mowersblowers.com. See you guys on my next project. Have a great day.